Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Hello.
Have you ever looked at the vast, just the immense world of cinema, especially its history,
Mm.
and felt a bit lost?
Oh, definitely. There's just so much out there. Decades of films, different countries, movements.
Right. Where do you even start?
It can feel impossible to, get a handle on the really crucial films, the ones that shaped what we watch now.
Exactly. So that's basically our mission today. We're taking a curated shortcut. Think of it as a direct route into 100 really influential international movies,
Uh-huh.
spanning from 1930 right up to 2000. And the goal isn't just to, read a list.
No, not at all.
We want to uncover those key insights, those sort of aha moments that show how cinema evolved, how it reflected the world, and maybe even shaped it a bit.
And the list we're working from, our source material, it's handpicked and genuinely global.
Yeah.
We've got films from all over, different directors, key cinematic movements. It really highlights the richness of global film during, well, a really transformative 70 years.
So by the end of this, you'll hopefully have a much better grasp of the big shifts, the key players, the lasting impact of films from this era.
Right, without getting totally bogged down in detail.
You'll get this unique perspective on how these movies don't just entertain, but how they offer deep insights into cultures, history, just the human experience, really.
Think of it like a journey through time. We'll go decade by decade.
Okay.
And you'll see how cinema grew up alongside society, from the first talkies right through to truly global story.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where better to start than the beginning of our journey?
Mhm.
The 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this decade was huge for film, wasn't it? Mainly because of sound.
Absolutely transformative. Silent films were amazing, of course, but suddenly hearing dialogue, music, ambient noise, it just opened up completely new possibilities.
And filmmakers didn't just, stick voices on top of silent movie techniques, did they?
Not the innovative ones, no. What's revolutionary is how quickly they saw potential beyond just talking. Take Fritz Lang's M from 31.
Yep.
He used sound to build dread. That chilling whistle of the killer. You don't even see him sometimes. It created this psychological depth that was, well, impossible before sound.
Wow, using sound like it's another character. That's powerful.
Yeah.
What about elsewhere? Was this happening globally?
Oh, yeah. Beyond Hollywood, you had films like Dovzhenko's Earth in the Soviet Union in 1930. It used sound for this sweeping, naturalistic, almost poetic feel.
Okay.
And Jean Vigo's Les Talents in France, 1934, just masterful, blending poetic realism with, the grit of life on a barge. Sound really enhanced the intimacy, the melancholy.
So different cultures were experimenting right away.
Definitely. They embraced it and made it their own.
Then, moving into the 1940s, things shift again.
Mhm.
Cinema starts capturing the raw feel of post-war life.
Very much so. This is where Italian neorealism comes in.
Right. Tell us a bit about what defined that movement.
Well, it literally emerged from the rubble of World War II. It was a reaction against, Hollywood gloss and glamour. Filmmakers like Visconti with Assassine, and maybe most famously, De Sica with Bicycle Thieves in 48. They stripped away all the artifice.
Oh.
They used non-professional actors, people off the street. They shot on location in the actual cities. And they focused on the gritty, real struggles of ordinary people.
So forcing audiences to confront reality.
Exactly. Head on. Brutally honest sometimes. Rossellini's Rome, Open City from 45 is another key one. It feels so immediate.
That sounds like a world away from Hollywood at the time.
Yeah.
But the 40s also gave us huge American films like Citizen Kane.
Oh, yeah. 1941.
People always call it revolutionary. But how specifically did it change the game?
Kane was just seismic. It totally blew up traditional narrative structure. No more straight-line storytelling.
Right, the flashbacks.
Flashbacks, multiple viewpoints. You get this complex, fragmented picture of Kane, and you, the audience, have to piece together.
Visually.
Visually, it pioneered deep focus, where everything, foreground and background, is sharp. It gives scenes incredible depth. You can absorb so much more information at once. It really challenged audiences to engage differently.
Okay, now stepping into the 1950s, this is where things get really interesting on a global scale, right? Masterful storytelling, pushing boundaries.
Absolutely. Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon from Japan in 1950 is such a perfect example.
How did that one manage to open Western eyes to Japanese cinema so dramatically?
Well, the big thing in Rashomon is its use of the unreliable narrator, or rather narrators.
Okay.
You have one event, a crime, basically, a murder and a rape told from four totally different contradictory perspectives.
All right, everyone remembers it differently.
And each version serves the person telling it, so you're left questioning. what is truth? It was radical. It forced Western viewers to deal with ambiguity, moral complexity. It really bridged a cultural gap.
That's a brilliant way to put it. So connecting that idea, the 50s saw more of this deep introspective stuff, moving beyond just plot.
Definitely. Think about Kurosawa again with Ikiru in 52, such a poignant film about a guy facing his mortality. Or Ozu's Tokyo Story from 53. Just captures that quiet, bittersweet feeling of family ties fraying.
And in Europe.
You had Fellini starting his major impact with La Strada in 54, that blend of gritty life and dreamlike images. Bergman kicked off his big run with The Seventh Seal, Wild Strawberries in 57.
Existential dread.
Pretty much. Faith, meaning, all that.
Yeah.
And crucially, Satyajit Ray's Pather Panchali in 55. It brought Indian cinema global attention with this incredibly lyrical, humanistic look at rural life.
So the 1960s, if the 50s were introspective, the 60s felt like breaking rules, injecting rebellion.
Totally. That's the heart of the French New Wave.
What made that so revolutionary?
It was a conscious rejection of, well, everything traditional filmmaking stood for. Directors like Godard, Breathless, 1960, iconic Truffaut with The 400 Blows, Agnes Varda with Cleo from 5 to 7.
Yeah.
They embraced spontaneity, experimental styles, jump cuts, handheld cameras, natural light, improvisation. It gave their films this raw, almost documentary feel.
Like they were just capturing life as it happened.
Kind of, yeah. And it was all about auteur cinema. The director's personal vision was king. The director as an artist, like a novelist.
You can almost feel that energy.
Yeah.
But auteur cinema wasn't just France, right? It continued elsewhere, but maybe differently.
For sure. Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove in 64, his satirical genius taking on the Cold War with this pitch-black humor.
Right.
And then something like Pontecorvo's The Battle of Algiers in 66, a landmark of political cinema. It used this pseudo-documentary style, meaning it looked so much like real newsreel footage, people actually debated if it was real.
Wow.
That blurring of lines was so powerful for showing the intensity of guerrilla war, colonial struggle.
Okay, so let's move into the 70s and 80s. Here we see filmmakers really pushing visual storytelling, exploring darker themes, maybe more complex philosophy.
Yeah, this period really cemented the new Hollywood auteurs. These were directors who got like unprecedented creative control, and often their films reflected a kind of societal disillusionment.
Like who?
Coppola, obviously. The Godfather films, 72 and 74. They redefined gangster movies by digging into the moral complexities, power, family, loyalty.
Yeah.
Scorsese, too. Taxi Driver in 76, Raging Bull in 80. Just these intense character studies. Troubled masculinity, violence. A really stark look at the underbelly of American life.
That does sound like a contrast to some earlier stuff, but there were still films blending spectacle with emotion, right?
Oh, absolutely. Spielberg was mastering that. Blockbusters that critics love too. Raiders of the Lost Ark in 81 totally reinvented adventure, and E.T. in 82.
Classic.
Such a tender story about friendship and wonder. It proved mainstream film could still hit deep emotional notes.
And outside Hollywood?
You had Wim Wenders with Paris, Texas in 84, that haunting, meditative road movie.
Yeah.
And Kurosawa came back strong with Ran in 85. Epic reimagining of King Lear in feudal Japan. Just showed his mastery endured.
It's so clear these films aren't just stories. They're like, you said, windows. Windows into culture, politics, society back then, reflecting hopes, fears.
Exactly, and that raises a good point. How do films from specific times keep resonating?
Yeah.
Think about Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing from 89 or Mathieu Kassavitz's La Haine from France in 95.
Okay.
They tackle social, racial tensions with this urgency that still feels incredibly relevant today. Discussions about identity, inequality, city life. Some themes just don't go away, sadly.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So as we get near the end of the century, late 90s touching 2000, filmmaking is evolving again. Techniques, storytelling, practical effects giving way to CGI.
Right. The late 90s saw technology really start redefining what was possible on screen. A film like The Matrix in 99.
Huge impact.
It wasn't just an action movie. It showcased completely new visual effects, that dynamic choreography, blurring reality and simulation. It fundamentally changed how action could even be imagined.
But it wasn't all about tech, right?
Yeah.
Artistic storytelling kept going.
Definitely. Global cinema continued to innovate profoundly. Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love in 2000, just visually exquisite, deeply romantic about this unspoken love.
Beautiful film.
And Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, same year. It blended martial arts spectacle with really poetic storytelling. broke box office records, proved non-English films could have massive global appeal.
It sounds like a real explosion of ambition, both technically and artistically.
It really was, and you still had incredible artistic films coming from diverse places showing innovation wasn't just about effects. Like Abbas Kiarostami's Close-Up from Iran in '90,
Uh-huh.
a fascinating meta-film about truth and identity. Kieslowski's Three Colors, Red in '94, that stunning finale to his trilogy about human connection.
Yeah, the Three Colors trilogy was amazing.
And Walter Sal's Central Station from Brazil in '98, just a deeply moving road movie. A boy and an older woman, unlikely bond. It really shows how global cinema excellence was expanding right to the century's end.
What a journey we've taken, spanning 70 years, 1930 to 2000. It really drives home how these movies are more than just stories.
Yeah.
They're these incredible windows, like we said, into the cultural, political, social landscapes of their times, reflecting everything: hopes, fears, dreams.
Absolutely. And diving into these films, it gives you real insights into how we got to now, you know? You see filmmaking evolve, pioneering techniques, revolutionary storytelling, practical effects shifting towards CGI.
There's just so much richness there.
So much. And each film offers this unique angle on its own historical moment.
So, for you listening, what does this all mean? Well, we really hope you'll embark on your own cinematic adventure using this list as a starting point.
Yeah,
Maybe,
definitely.
create a watch list. You can pick one film from each decade just to get a taste of the evolving styles and themes firsthand.
Or you could go deep on one director. Pick a Kurosawa, a Fellini, an Ingmar Bergman, and just explore their filmography, see how their vision developed over time, understand their lasting impact, their ideas.
That sounds like a great project.
Yep.
And another way to dive deeper could be comparing movements. Like, look at the French New Wave, that rebellious energy, and compare it to Italian neorealism. Both broke from tradition, but in such different ways. There are so many connections and contrasts you can find.
Yeah, loads to explore. So maybe a final thought to leave you with.
Okay.
Considering how these films from 1930 to 2000 so clearly reflected and even influenced their times, what profound insights might the films being made now offer about our society today?
That's interesting.
And how might future generations look back at our films? What will they see about our anxieties, our hopes, our tech? Something to think about as you maybe start your own journey through cinema history.